missed part of my trip, but this is better. It really is.
Thank you, Marty. Today we're studying Talmud on page 282 in the Ein Yaakov. This is the Ein Yaakov. I'm glad you missed your flight.
282.
We are learning about the famous story in the Talmud. There's plenty of Talmuds here, folks, right here. We have Talmud for Africa here.
We have enough.
So we're learning about the famous story in the Talmud about when there was a mutiny inside of the Talmudic Academy. Well, there they ousted the rabbi. Here they ousted the president. So, so what happened is that they actually replaced Rabbi Gamliel with Rabbi Yehoshua, right? No, it wasn't Rabbi Yehoshua. They replaced the Rabbi Yehoshua was the one that he was arguing with. They replaced him with Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, who was a young man. Some say 13, some say 18. But he overnight developed a beard where he looked like he was 70 years old. We spoke about the significance of that. And then at the very end of 282, we spoke about one of the teachings that were taught on that day. We said that previously, only someone whose interior was like his exterior was allowed into the house of study. And once they introduced the new leader of the academy, everyone was allowed in. Okay? And that's a fascinating concept, which we concluded our last week's Torah study with, where we said that we observed on the extreme surprise of emphasizing the exterior over the interior. Whereas instead of saying, whereas it says that a student's interior must match his exterior, it seemingly should have said that his exterior should match his interior, right? Right? You know, the dominant and the recessive are backward here. Why do we say that the inside, your feelings, your emotions, your understanding, your intellect, your personality should match your clothing? I mean, seriously, does that sound right? Does that sound right to say that your personality should be matching your uniform?
I would think vice versa.
Exactly. That sounds like a very strange thing to say. A very, very strange thing to say, that your personality must be matching to your uniform. That's a ridiculous. Uniform should match your personality. So we explained this fundamental concept, which is impossible to be understood without Hasidus. That is that clothing, physical clothing and spiritual clothing, is rooted spiritually in a higher place than the interior. And therefore, clothing is more powerful. Your clothing, your uniform is more powerful than your personality. This is the secret behind fake it until you make it. That's the reason why fake it until you make it operates. Because your fake it is more important than your make it. It's more powerful. Your external is actually more powerful than your internal. And the way Hasidus explains this idea is of a wall. When you have a wall that falls, what happens? The bricks that are higher up on the wall end up being further away when they fall to the ground. The lower bricks end up being closer. This is how Hasidus explains this concept. And therefore, in this world, clothing is lower, uniform is lower than personality, right? Exterior is less important than interior. But that's because on the previous world, in heaven and spiritual root, uniform is higher than personality. That's why there's an interesting story about an NDE. Anybody here believe in NDEs? You believe in NDEs? Near-death experiences.
Yes. Oh, sure. Yes.
There's a great story in the Talmud about an NDE. You ever heard of the story of the NDE?
NDE?
Let's see. There's a beautiful story in the Talmud. Here it is.
Wait, Chuck, didn't you have one?
That's what I'm
familiar with it. Two times.
Yeah, how many times did you die?
Twice.
You died twice?
Twice.
Yeah. Let's keep it down.
Fortunately, not a third time.
Keep it down, please.
Okay, let's see. I'm just gonna pull up the story in the Talmud about NDEs.
Coming out. Yeah.
Here.
Michael Keegan still.
Yeah, bear with me, folks. Where is volume? Oh, it's out of order here, guys. Sorry. I was looking for the story in the Talmud on NDEs. Who has been moving around our Talmud? Rob, has this been you? Messing around at the order of the Talmud?
I come here at night and I study Talmud. Sometimes I don't put it down.
Seriously, who took out Tractate Pesachim Volume 2? I'm sorry, folks. I started to turn my back to the screen here.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for Tractate Pesachim. It's actually going to be Volume 10 in this Talmud. It's going to be Volume 10 in the order of the Talmud. Whoa.
Israel,
Yeah. Yo.
did you take the Rabbi's Talmud, Tractate 10?
No.
Okay.
We have a secret study club here in the middle of the night. They come here and they move around the books. Okay, well, it's not here. I'm going to have to find it on Google. Hold on. I'm going to find it on Google.
You trusting Google again? Palestinians.
Here, Safaria. Okay, I got it in Safaria. Let's see. Here it is. Oh, you good. Thank God for the internet.
Rabbi, you know you could share your screen with YouTube.
I don't know that I can do that. How do I do that?
Don't bother.
Mind if I show you? Or...
Yeah, whatever. I'm gonna go straight into it. I'm sorry to yeah, thanks. All right. So you'll show me. So the Talmud says in Tractate Pesachim 50a. Rabbi Stroll's gonna show me something. Go to YouTube.
Go back to YouTube.
How do you
Yeah.
spell suckum?
Now press this.
P-E-S.
No matter what is happening. Press that.
Press what? This?
Oh, press. You might have to go something.
I'm gonna have to yeah.
Yeah.
And share my screen.
Share
Pesachim.
screen.
All right, fine, very good. They can see
Thanks,
my- Thank you.
How many rabbis does it take to put on a...
Thank you, Rabbi Stroll. So here's the Talmud, guys. This is the Talmud on NDEs, near-death experiences. Very interesting. Said Rabbi Shimon Levi, these are the people who are considered important in this world and are unimportant in the world to come. He's referring to a previous conversation that was going on in the previous Talmud. This is like the incident involving Rav Yosef, the son of Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, who became ill and he was about to expire. When he returned to good health, his father said to him, so the guy, he was about to die, and he came back to life. His father said to him, what did you see when you were about to die? He said to him, I saw an inverted world. Those above were below, i.e. those who are considered important in this world were insignificant, while those below were above, which means those who are insignificant in this world were above. Said Rabbi Shimon ben Levi to his son of Yosef, my son, you have seen a clear world, the world you have seen.
This is what it's showing. Can you go back to
Oh,
there?
well, I should stop sharing.
Just go back to there and
Yeah, what am I doing here?
now press the exit.
No, that's in the screen.
Oh yeah.
It's a little advanced for me. What's going on over here? So I'm gonna stop sharing.
Okay.
I'm gonna stop sharing. Thank you. All right, we're good. Sorry, folks. I'm sorry if it's like a little hard to reach, but Yisrael will teach me another time. Thanks, Yisrael. So back to what I was saying here. So, my son, you have seen a clear world. The world you have seen is the true world, as in that world, people's standings befit them. In other words, in the world to come in heaven, there people are their status depends on their true character, not on their false perception. Like in America, you just need to have your face appear in an ad, or land a job as an actor to become somebody important, right? Really, you have zero depth to your being other than reading scripted lines that someone wrote for you, right? And because you're able to act, that's how you become an important person. But in the world to come, a person is placed in status which is befitting their true identity. The world you have seen is a true world, as in that world, people's standings befit them. Rabbi Shua ben Levi asked, and where are we, the Torah scholars, there? This is what Rabbi Shua, the father, asked. Rav Yosef responded, just as we are regarded here, he said to his father, so we are regarded there. Rav Yosef then added, and I heard that they were saying in that world, he's overhearing what happens in the NDE, right, in the next world. He says, praiseworthy is the one who arrives here with his studies in his hand. Ashrei Misha Bolakan v'Talmudai biyodoi. Praiseworthy is the one who arrives here with his studies in his hand. And I also heard that they were saying, which means, make sure to bring it with you. Make sure to take the Torah with you, that when you get to heaven, you got luggage, right? You're allowed as much luggage as you want on that flight. But no, you don't bring empty bags. You're only allowed to bring stuffed luggage, which is stuffed to Torah. That's it. That's the only luggage you can bring with you to heaven. How many suitcases are you going to bring with you to heaven?
He already dropped them off.
How much Torah study? And then he said, and I also heard that they were saying, those executed by the government for being Jewish enjoy such an exalted status that no one can stand in their enclosure. In other words, those martyrs of Jewish faith are higher than anybody else. Holocaust victims, October 7th victims. The Gemara asks, and who are those martyrs? What? The 10 martyrs, of course. The Gemara asks, and who are these martyrs that Rav Yosef was referring to? If you say that he was referring to Rabbi Akiva and his colleagues who were martyred, this cannot be as their elevated status due only to the fact that they were martyred by the Roman government and nothing more. Of course, we know that they were great, right? That's not the novelty here, right? It's going to be talking about someone else as the novelty. These men were exceptional in their piety and sanctity during their lives as well. Rather, it's referring to the martyrs of Lod. You know what Lod is? Lod is Israel's international airport. The martyrs of Lod, Pappus and Lulianus. These were two very, very noble Jewish people who were living very simple lives as ordinary Jews. But in their death, they became exalted. What happened? Who gave themselves up to be martyred for the sake of the Jewish people. Why? They falsely admitted to killing the king's daughter in order to prevent a harsh decree from being issued against the entire Jewish community. What happened was the king's daughter was killed by someone. Nobody knew who. So the king threatened to wipe out the entire Jewish community unless the murderers would confess. So Pappus and the Linus threw themselves under the bus. They said, we did it, falsely admitting, in order to save their brethren from being killed. Although they were not known for exceptional piety before that event, they are considered to be extremely holy due to their martyrdom. Okay, that was basically the tangent that I was in the middle of doing. Forgive me for taking that tangent. But what I was trying to do was to explain that the world we live in is an upside down world. When I was telling you about the interior and the exterior, where in this world, your personality needs to match your uniform. And that's the reason for that is because in heaven, your uniform is higher than your personality. The shell is more important than the fruit in heaven. That's what it means. The outside is more important than the inside. Klippa is more important. Yes, exactly.
Oy.
Yes, it's dawning on you. I love that look in your face. Klippa, yes. You had a moment there. Eureka.
I'm getting indigestion now.
Eureka, I found it, right? Good. So Yossi Haber is joining us from Iceland. Lovely. Nice to have you with us, sir. Good. Okay, so let's carry on in our piece of Talmud because we haven't actually started our Talmud studies. Let's go for it. Now, page 283. When Elazar ben Azariah became Nasi, he removed the guard from the door and allowed anyone who wished to study to enter. Now, the bottom line, the takeaway is, friends, is that you can become whatever you want to become, just dress for success. That's what it means. You can become whatever you want to become, just dress for success. You want to become a Torah scholar? Then do what Torah scholars do. Just do the motions. Learn a lot of Torah. You'll become a Torah scholar. You want to become a kind person. If you're a mean person, if you're a selfish narcissist, what are you pointing fingers? He's elbowing.
He's a Pasquiniak.
He's elbowing.
No.
If you're a selfish narcissist that cannot possibly feel the pain of another person, then what you do is you do the motions. You know, there was a woman that came to the Rebbe and she said, Rebbe, she handed the Rebbe a stack of papers. And she said, here, Rebbe, look at my analysis. The Rebbe looks at the papers very quickly. And he says, okay, so what's the problem? She says, you didn't read the papers? He said, I did read the papers. But then you would know what the problem is. I don't understand the problem. I know what the problem is. I don't understand what the problem is. Turns out, she said, but it says I'm a narcissist. That's what it says on the papers. So the Rebbe says, but what's the problem? She says, I'm self-centered. I don't care about anybody else. So the Rebbe said, so what's the problem? All you need to do is do acts of kindness. The Rebbe explained to her, you're sitting in the lunchroom. She was a student. You're sitting in the lunchroom with all the other girls. Say, does anybody want me to pass the salt? And then pass the salt. And go get a drink and say, would anybody like me to bring them a drink? That's what you do. That's how you solve the problem. You're not defined by your personality. You're not defined by a pigeonhole. You're not defined, you're not like a car that is a BMW 3W series, whatever, I don't know what. All right, that's not what you are. You're a human being. Human beings are dynamic. You know what I really respect? You know that Winston Churchill? You know how many times he flipped parties?
Oh, many times.
Seriously, you know how many times Winston Churchill flipped parties? I think it was 4 times. Back and forth. Conservative, labor, conservative. He went back and forth, back and forth. You know, people say Donald Trump, he used to be a Democrat, then we a Republican. Oh my God. They say, you know, in America today, if you were like, you know, this guy Josh Shapiro, you know, he's thinking of being vice president. They say that he first of all he was against the 2-state solution. Now he's for a 2-state solution. Is that bad? Like, is it bad to actually be able to change your mind? Like, oh my God, you have a human being who actually changed his mind. This sounds like the worst thing ever imaginable. To me, it sounds like a guy who actually has a brain in his head and he actually thinks about something. Just because I believe something in my 20s, it doesn't mean I have to believe my thing as something in my 80s, right? Like, I would think that an elected official, somebody who somehow is representing us, should be able to have the power of independent thought. I would hope that is something which we're aspiring towards. What?
The question is whether the change is sincere
That's the
or
question.
Okay.
Zoe.
or it's
yes.
facade in order to accomplish something.
There you
And then
go.
the true.
But Chuck, let me ask you a
There
question.
you
Chuck,
go.
but Chuck,
Chuck, watch out, Chuck.
No.
Chuck, you've already done it twice. No more.
Right?
no, but Chuck, let me ask this question. You know, when somebody, you know, part of the reason why it's very difficult to find normal candidates for president in this country is because the media has destroyed them. They rip them apart with combs of iron, and they go through every piece of their history, and they say, oh, in 1984, you were in the playground and you looked askance at someone, that means you're a racist. Okay? So, like, maybe I was a racist. Could be I was a racist. But you know what? I have matured. Imagine a politician would say that. Yeah, I used to be a racist, and now I'm a nice person. Oh, well, you're going to say, well, that's insincere. What's wrong with actually having a brain up there on top of your shoulders and actually developing a thought? What I'm saying is, okay, fine. No, it's a valid concern. I understand it's a valid concern, but it should not be a catch-all elimination of any developing thought, right? To say no politician ever is allowed to change their mind because we are going to assume that it's insincere. I think that's insane, right? Anyways, whatever. There's so much to talk about the topic. Let's keep on going. Sorry.
I was going to bring up something from
Go ahead.
this week's Tanya, where it talks about the highest form of repentance when you break the ropes is is to act, like the actions of renodding it of.
I think repentance in and of itself, repentance is reinvention of self.
But it's studying more Torah. It's the action of.
Yeah.
The action
So the fact that Torah believes in repentance, the fact that Torah believes in repentance means Torah believes in second chances. Judaism is the great embrace of second chances. Think about that for a moment. In America, oh my God, you said that? Remember Brett Kavanaugh? He was at some party somewhere in his late teens or something. And he said something, he did something, and therefore, forevermore, he's now an evil man. Yeah. Like, okay, we don't believe in redemption. We don't believe in teshuvah. Like what? Right? I'm going to assume that every other member of Congress over there has never spoken evil, has never had an evil thought, because they are angels. The angels in Congress.
Yeah, well, wait a minute. If somebody is convicted of being a pedophile, and then he comes to you and says,
No, the thing about pedophilia is different. Pedophilia is different. It's got an extremely high rate of recidivism.
And I'd like to babysit your children.
No, it's very different. No, I disagree with you. That's a good point. But pedophilia has an extreme high rate of recidivism.
Most things have a high.
No, it's not true. It's not true. It's simply not true. I've done a lot of research on this, by the way. I'm serious. Pedophilia has got like I think it's over 80%. What?
Same research.
Yeah, I've done a lot of research in yeast, actually. And like I said, you're entitled to your opinion, even though you're wrong. I mean, it's a free country, Okay. All right. Anyways, guys, let's go back to Talmud. We're going to study something, guys, folks. We're getting so excited over here. After that introduction, the pre-Torah today, the pre-game here was a little intense, so we were off to a... All right, let's go learn something, guys. 283. The Talmud continues. That day, many benches were added to the base measures. This is for you, Rob. They added many chairs to the shul. Many benches were added to the base measures to accommodate the large increase in students. Rabbi Yochanan said, Abba Yosef Bar Destoy and the rabbis disagree about the matter. One says that 400 benches were added that day, and one says 700 benches were added that day. I'm just curious to know how they amplified the sound? I'm curious to know. In those days, they didn't have like microphones. Yeah. So how did they like really? How did they really?
Yeah, they have the megaphone.
Oh, that one. You're right. I forgot about that. Rabbi Gamliel became disheartened when he saw so many new students studying. Remember, Rabbi Gamliel was the former Nasi, the former president of the academy, the one who had been ousted. He became disheartened when he saw so many students. He said to himself, perhaps, God forbid, I have withheld Torah from Israel. He's having a moment of gravitas. Yeah. He's like, oh my God, all these people want to study Torah, and because of me, they weren't allowed in. This is terrible. Maybe I was wrong in not allowing these people to come study, and I will be punished for this. Heaven showed him in a dream white pitchers filled with ashes. Marty, have you ever seen that in a dream? White pitchers filled with ashes? Pitchers. I guess not. Okay. So that's what they showed him. Not Yankee pitchers, no. They showed him white pitchers like jugs filled with ashes, as if to say, what is the meaning of this dream? What is the significance of this dream? As if to say that Rabbi Gamliel had acted correctly by not allowing the new students in, because just as these pitchers were white on the outside, they look so pure, they look so innocent on the outside, yet inside they are full of worthless ashes. So the new students appear worthy on the outside, but inside are not really sincere. Ouch. So the white pitchers filled with ashes was a symbolic message from heaven, affirming and validating the position of Rabbi Gamliel to say that only on the outside they look pure, but don't get excited. On the inside, they're burning hot fire, these guys. They're nothing you want to touch. But this is in direct conflict to what I've taught now, okay, and to my position. And I feel challenged right now, because according to this, it's saying that what matters is not the outside, what matters is the inside. So I personally feel challenged by this piece of Talmud, right? And I want to show you how, when you study Talmud, this is what happens. You got to keep an open mind. You got to be able to have the humility to say I was wrong, which I'm not ready to say yet. But besides, no, I'm being supported by Hasidus. I know that I'm not wrong. The question is how to interpret this piece of Talmud about the white pitchers filled with ashes in light of fake it till you make it. Because if your outside is more important than your inside, if your uniform is more important than your personality, then what would be the problem, according to heaven, with having the white pitchers transform the ashes on the inside? That's what the Alter Rebbe said. We learned that in the discourse. We learned the Rebbe's discourse in 1960 and 61, two different discourses. The Rebbe speaks over there that a nasty person, through doing good deeds, becomes a kind person, and a stupid person, the Alter Rebbe says, through saying smart things, becomes a smart person. So maybe the interpretation of the art scroll is incorrect. Remember, the art scroll, the bold letters are the bold letters that are the direct translation of the Talmud, and the non-bold, which is the explanation of art scroll. Now, I don't have to accept the explanation of the art scroll, right? So maybe what they were saying to Rabbi Gamliel is they were saying, you're wrong. Maybe they were disagreeing with him. Instead of validating their position and saying you acted correctly, maybe they were saying you acted incorrectly. Let's dive deep into this. Let's try to understand. You understand what I'm trying to say, Chapsy? Let's see. Let's try to research the comments over here. Let's go, first of all, a little further. I just want to say that in general, whenever you get stuck in a piece of Talmud, the answer normally lies within the next 2-3 paragraphs. The Gemara comments, but is this not really so? I.e., this was not really a sign that from heaven that Rabbi Gamliel was correct. Rather, they showed him his... Oh, see, that's exactly what I just said. Rather, they showed Rabbi Gamliel this dream from heaven, only to put his mind at ease, since he had been motivated by pure intentions when he instituted this policy. In truth, however, he was not correct in preventing all these people from coming to study. He was not correct, and maybe I'm right. And the purpose of the pictures was to show him, actually, you should judge a book by its cover. You know, it's interesting. Ethics of the Fathers tells us exactly the opposite of what I'm saying. By the way, Pirkei Avot is saying exactly the opposite of what I'm saying. It says, Al tistakel b'kankan ela b'ma sheyesh bo. Do not look at the jug, at the pitcher, but rather at what is inside of it, because you have a new pitcher which has old wine inside, and you have an old pitcher which has new wine inside. So you should not judge a book by its cover. This is what it says in the Mishnah, okay? Now, what does that mean?
breaking news. Tim Waltz is selected by Kamala Harris as her running mate.
Thank God. I was worried about the Jew.
Who?
He doesn't sound
Tim
Jewish, right?
Waltz.
Bernie Sanders is
No,
right.
no,
Bernie Sanders
Josh
party.
Shapiro.
Obviously, far left wing,
They don't want
loser.
They don't want to
Who's gonna want a Jew?
To lose the Palestinians.
Folks, I got a question for you. Seriously, how do you understand this piece of Talmud? Toby, you understand the question? With Pirkei Avos says, don't judge a book by its cover. That's what it says in Pirkei Avos.
Right, but here it says to judge the book.
Well, Hasidus at least is saying that. You know, I don't want to blame my positions on the Talmud, right?
Because,
It could be I'm wrong. What?
Because you judge a book by its cover, the cover can change. The inside, that's what this is saying also, the inside changes. You gotta start off somewhere, like fake it till you make it.
Right. But the Talmud, is that what the Talmud is saying? Certainly Ethics of the Fathers is not saying that. Ethics of the Fathers seems to be saying that don't judge a book by its cover. Inside counts more than outside. That's what the Ethics of the Fathers is saying. Here, the Talmud before was saying, and Rabbi Gamliel's position, his own position was, remember the words that he uttered, any student whose interior is not like his exterior, which means what's dominant is the exterior. He overemphasized the exterior. Maybe when they showed him the white pictures, they were showing him that he was wrong.
Maybe it's situational.
But then it conflicts with Ethics of the Fathers. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Maybe it's situational.
Tell me, what does that mean?
Well, here we're talking about students studying Torah. And maybe you're not to judge the students differently. That the exterior, how they show up, right? Fake it till you make it, because that's how they learn, because they're going to be engaged and participate.
So maybe they were showing him what? They were showing him what?
That you come in, you engage, right? So your exterior
So-
doesn't match your interior.
Yeah, so what he's
You
saying?
grow from
Yeah.
learning by
He's just saying
studying.
it applies
together.
only to students.
But I'm saying it refers to students. It says
Students.
students.
He's saying it's
Situational.
standard.
So maybe this is the pedagogical
Right.
pedagogical
Yes.
guidance.
Yes.
It's saying you got ashes, put them in white pictures, and they'll become good. Let's see the note. Let's see note number 9 here, okay? Because maybe that's what it is. Note number 9, yeah. By the way, note number 8 to what Mike is saying. Ritva writes that the students in the Masifta would wear white garments. This makes the dreams analogy more precise. Students would wear white garments. Okay, let's see. Okay. I like Andy's answer. Interesting. Andy says both can be true. One is factual and the other is aspirational. In other words, factually, it's fake until you make it. But aspirationally, don't judge a book by its cover. It's interesting. I like that answer. Okay, let's keep it going. Note number 9.
The goal is to be aligned.
Right. Rabbi Gamliel's policy not to teach Torah to a student unless it is known that his interior is like his exterior was in line with the statement in Chulin 133a that whoever teaches an unworthy student is as if he throws a stone at an idol called Markulis. The idol Markulis was worshipped by throwing stones at it. That's someone who throws a stone at Markulis with intention to disgrace the idol, has in fact done the opposite and honored it. They would serve this idol by throwing stones at it. Right? Must have been a Palestinian idol. But that's how they would serve. So if you throw a stone at the idol and you think you're disgracing it, you're really honoring it, so too, although someone who teaches Torah to an unworthy student means well, he is actually doing a disservice because the student will put the Torah to improper use. That's what it says in the Talmud in Chulin, and therefore it seems that what Rabbi Gamliel's policy was actually aligned with the Talmud in Chulin to say, I don't want to teach a student whose interior is not like his exterior. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, however, maintained that this teaching applies only to where the student is known to be unworthy, such a student should indeed not be taught. Where the student's interior cannot be determined, however, he should be accepted. Okay. So what they're trying to say over here is that there's a debate here between Rabbi Gamliel and Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, which is quite possible. It's quite possible that there's two schools of thought. Rabbi Gamliel, no, it's not two schools of thought, because Rabbi Gamliel emphasized the outside, and Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah also emphasized the outside. Both of them, no. Okay, look, Rabbi Gamliel didn't allow the students in, right?
Right. From looking at the outside, but he didn't let him in.
Yeah, but even though, nevertheless, he still emphasized the outside,
Right.
but he put a lot of emphasis on the inside, but more emphasis he put on the outside, right? Okay, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah said it's all about the outside. That's what he said. It's all about the outside, and I understand this Talmud as if heaven was saying to Rabbi Gamliel, "You were wrong." Because it's the white pictures that matter, that dominate over the ashes. Now, I might be wrong in that interpretation. If you got a moment, do you mind if I open the Talmud in this? Hopefully this Talmud is over here.
turns the
What?
ashes white.
You gotta turn the ashes into the white picture.
You gotta turn the ashes into what?
Into the white picture. You're letting them in.
In the following paragraph says that the martyrs.
What's it? Until we finish the point. What are you saying? What is your what do you say?
You gotta let them in and let them all in and let them learn and whatever. The ashes turn into the white picture in the long run. If you leave them outside, they're never going to become anything.
What's gonna happen? Interesting. Ooh. Whoa, hang on. What's gonna happen to the ashes that are left in the white pitcher?
If you let them in or
You
don't.
let them in, and then they become.
What's gonna happen? They're gonna calm down.
Yeah.
They're gonna stop being fiery. Think about that. Ashes in the oven are gonna stay fiery, but if they're assuming the fire is like red with sin, right, and white is innocent and pure, but if you leave them, what's gonna happen to ashes? They're gonna turn white. Am I right or wrong?
They're gonna turn into the white
Aren't
picture.
ashes going to turn white? I think this is brilliant, guys. Folks, I'm sorry, but I just think that was brilliant. Toby, if that's what you were saying, I think it's brilliant.
He wasn't saying it.
Forgive me, but I think this is unbelievable. We got to write this down, folks. We got to publish this because this is amazing. If what happens to red hot coals? Don't they turn eventually white? I'm no pyromaniac, but I think that's what it is.
When they get very hot, they turn white.
But eventually, you leave coals long enough, they'll turn white.
The residue is white.
Isn't that awesome? Maybe that was the message. That even though in the inside they're red with sin, since on the outside they're white with purity, they're eventually going to become white. That was unbelievable. Toby, I think that was amazing. Amazing.
I think you get a bonus.
If that's what you meant, I'm not sure, but I think it was.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
That's-
Wait, hold on, hold
It
It
No,
sounds
that's
good.
what I said. Turn the ashes
Rabbi,
into
did
the
you
white
think on
picture.
that novelty before class, and it would actually come out?
No,
your
that
hand
happened
before
ru-
it had now?
Toby-
happened
Toby
now.
just came up with it right now.
Toby.
Toby just came up with it. It was his. By the way, the Rebbe
And
wanted.
that was Rashi.
The Rebbe wanted, by the way.
You were thinking of white.
Toby,
before.
you know that the Rebbe wanted everyone to publish original Torah thoughts, especially in light of yesterday's Torah study. Remember? Yesterday's Torah study, we learned that original Torah thoughts is part of the process of revealing God's wisdom in this world. Could that have been a godly revelation that we as a collective experienced right here? That we experience the revelation of divine wisdom through our own intellectual back and forth debates and through his observation. I think that might have been amazing. Just a quick commentary, guys, to wrap it up. I know we're a little over time here. Let's see. Just as pitches, Maharsha says, just as pitches are beautifully white on the outside, yet on the inside they contain worthless ash, so too the students appear worthy but are not truly so. According to the Maharsha, he was being supported in his dream. According to Maharsha. Let's see what Rashi says. Let's see what Rashi says.
No, take Rashi.
I may not go on this trip. I'll just-
Okay, Rashi also says that they're not worthy.
You'll have a lot more fun.
I do.
Okay, folks, I think that what just happened really boils down to Andrew Siegelstein. That's what I think it was.
Oh, now it's Andy.
I think it's
You
Andy.
lose credit.
No, really, I think Andy ties it together here because Andy is saying that there's what did he call it? He called it before a. He said, okay, he says one is factual, the other is aspirational. I think what the Talmud is saying in a perfect world, we want that. We want integrity. But remember that it was the Rebbe, our Rebbe, the shepherd, the spiritual shepherd of our generation, who was talking to a battered, bruised, and broken generation of American Jews that were hunchbacked, walking off the boat, barely able to survive after the Holocaust. And he was talking to this generation of American Jews that were trying to figure it out in a new world, in the golden Medina, in the golden country. They're trying to figure it out. And everyone was saying to them, listen, guys, I know we might not be as intellectually or spiritually astute as our previous generation. But in this land, all that matters is the outside. And if you can focus on your outside, you'll fake it, you'll be able to make it. Maybe this is an evolution of this piece of Talmud, where within this piece of Talmud were hints to this ultimate truth, which is why Rabbi Gamliel, who denied access to the students, he's still, in his words, he subtly hinted to the fact that the outside is more important than the inside. It's almost like his words don't even make sense, except in light of the ultimate understanding. And maybe today when we're at the end of exile, today when we're at the day of the coming of Mashiach, today when all wisdom is about to explode, burst forth.
You know,
We are experiencing the unlocking of the secret, and today we as a collective are able to say
you know,
that
there
we can
are-
understand this idea. Anyways, folks, I'm going to end with that. That was an amazing piece. Oh, just before you say that, just comments coming in here, fierce and furious, fast and furious. Thomas Jefferson moving to Norway has caused me to be so far removed from American politics. I'm quite glad, honestly. Thomas Jefferson, someone who was in the military, I agree with what was said. You go to boot camp, you live in a different way. If it changes the inside. When you go to boot camp, you become a different person. You know, kids who go to the military, they come out like a mensch. It's quite amazing. Angie says, ash is the inert residue of combustion. Ash is not combustible. Oy vey, another one of these conversations. Ash is not combustible. You can't make a fire out of ash. I thought
No,
No, because there's nothing left.
fire
There's
is,
nothing
you've used up all.
there's no embers in the ash.
You've used up the fuel.
You've used up-
But didn't it say red ash? Didn't it say red ash here?
But still, it's
Didn't say any ash. It said
No,
white.
it's white.
No,
White.
there's the red.
Oh, maybe ash is ash already white?
Ash is white.
Yeah, ash is white.
Ash is what's left. It's the.
So what's the problem if there was ash on the inside? Oh, it's white, it wasn't red.
Right.
I understood this Talmud is saying that the ashes in the inside were red.
No.
Maybe they were embers, because I'm always seeing like little embers in my barbecue.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's not ash,
That's
that's
still
embers.
Right, when it's all.
Ah.
So they're saying the ash is used, it's just left over its residue, so.
Ash serves no purpose. You can't grow anything with ashes.
No.
By the way,
Actually,
quick switch over here. Quick switch. You know, when I tell people, I want to tell people, you can use ash for fertilizer? Seriously? Really? You can use ash for fertilizer?
Yes.
Nitrates.
Can you Google that, please?
No, it's nitrates. It's
Well,
nitrates.
look at what happens.
Fact check.
Look what happens when there's a forest fire. It's all ash and then it grows.
Really?
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't burn down your trees yet.
Okay, so hang on a second. I was trying to tell you, I say to people about cremation. People ask me about cremation. And I say that burial puts you into the earth.
Like, check that in Camry.
Oh, yeah? Okay, fine. Very good. So
Thank you.
So burial turns a person into earth. Cremation turns a person into ash, right? We bury treasure. We burn trash. We burn trash, right? But
I
also
tell people that 'cause I-
burial.
Oh, I never heard
Oh,
that.
he said it.
You've heard that.
That's what I
Burial actually creates new life, whereas ash, I always thought, doesn't create new life. And that's fertilizer, which is not really new life. It's like kind of gross, but whatever. Anyways, lots of interesting stuff coming in here. I want to see one more comment. Armando Tarziu, get the book, The Great Controversy by Ellen White. It's everything that about what we live, what is to come. Ooh, is this some sort of a?
It's Christian.
Okay, whatever. When it appears we're faking it, isn't the exterior? Ooh, Terry, I'm starting to get back to you yesterday. When it appears we're faking it, isn't the exterior is really aligning with the pure soul within? I agree with you. Yes. Maybe the ash is all our confusion between the interior pure soul and the exterior. Yes, I think that the true exterior. The exterior is the reflection of the true interior. Yes. What were you saying?
Well, there are two schools of thought on change. How do you change people?
Right.
One school of thought says you change their mind and then they'll change their behavior. There's a counter school.
That's CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy.
Right. Change the behavior and the mind will change over time.
Which one is CBT? Behavior, cognitive, behavioral therapy. I think
is you
cognitive
change-
first.
Is that you change your behavior based on
Right.
thought. You have a thought. You don't
First
like,
thought,
you use a different
then behavior.
Right. The thought. The behavior.
Mind over action.
Right.
But there's another school of thought, he says, which is behavior changes.
Over time,
Thoughts.
behavior, a change of behavior.
Love it.
repetitively
Love it. Okay.
ultimately
Right.
changes
Okay.
the mind.
Right. That's it.
Assuming the change of
Right,
behavior.
that's it.
And by the way, Fran supports you guys. Ash fertilizes lawns and thaws ice. So just in the end, so what was wrong? What was wrong with the ashes? Go back to that dream. Maybe ash is good. Maybe ash is good. Maybe the white pitchers with the ashes inside. Ashes could be used for fertilized lawns and thaw ice. Does the Gemara say that word? That he was wrong? Where does the Gemara say
The
that?
Gemara says it was just implicated, but it was not.
It
right.
does not say that he
It
was wrong.
does.
No, that is the commentary.
It says-
The Talmud's words-
The Gemara says,
He says, perhaps God forbid I've withheld Torah from Israel. They showed him in a dream white pitchers filled with ashes. Period.
okay,
It doesn't
and the
say
next
what that
paragraph
meant,
says-
okay?
The next paragraph,
Velohi, but it is not really so. What's not really so?
that it was not so, that the
That's-
dream was not so.
Very well.
No, the meaning of the dream was not so.
Yes,
Not so as in what?
as in that he was.
There's
right.
two ways to interpret it. That he was right or that he was wrong. This is Talmudic.
Right.
You could read it as right or wrong, right? They showed him this dream only to put his mind at ease. Ooh. Maybe it is not so means to say that he was right.
A little bit of the in and out. Remember that?
Maybe.
That's a
We need
long
more.
time ago.
To put his mind at ease means to say that he was right.
To put his mind at ease.
Maybe the interpretation
Because he was beating himself up.
he was beating himself up.
Because
So they were
he-
saying,
because he wasn't bad intended. He had a
gee,
good
I think we have to pick this up when we start over again. This is a lot to cover over here. There's a lot to cover. So it's a very powerful dream. We need to understand this dream, folks. We're going to carry it on next time, all right? Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day. Whew. Sorry about that. Was that